like a Hellcat. Like a Hellcat.
That's a little bit better. It is a stunner from Fabio Quagliarella. It's off again for Jacko, who's in for Roma and scores.
Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to another edition of Serie, Sitdown, World Football Index's podcast of Calcio Told Like It Is. I'm Frank Crivello. He's Richard Carmen. Ciao, Richard.
Ciao, Frank. How are we doing on this Tuesday night?
It's we're doing good, man. It's getting cold though.
You're up in the north, way up north. Hey,
Yeah, we're not way up north.
more north
but-
than I am.
Yeah. Technically speaking, we had my son's soccer practice in 38-degree weather tonight. It was good times.
Oh man,
So
that's a cold. That's a cold one. I remember playing soccer in those kind of temperatures. It's not fun when you get tackled and hit the ground, but or kick the ball sometimes.
Well, and my son got kicked out a lot tonight. It was kind of weird, but it was. One of the things that I learned quickly when you coach young kids training in 38-degree weather, you just keep them moving. Everything small-sided games, and you just keep them running. No lines, no drills, no nothing. Just put them into game activity and and let them have at it. So not more north than our friend Stevie over there at Milan Weekly Podcast. Ciao, Stevie. Good to see you checking in.
That's true. That's true. Montreal's a little bit more north than you. Certainly more north than I am. So for sure.
Yep. So the great white north up there. Great maple syrup. You get a nice bottle of Molson's. A little bit of back bacon. You're good.
Absolutely.
Anthony, ciao. Good to see you.
Ciao, Anthony.
I'm on the local product as always. River West Stein today. Rich is just drinking water, or unless that's just vodka neat.
it'll be some kind of party if it's just water. It'll just be you at the end of the show.
Yeah. So another wild week in Serie A. This is where you come for the goals. 41 of them again. Boring Serie A, right? We had so we're going to go through all of the games. We're going to go through what happened in each game. We're going to break down what happened in Champions League today. Missed opportunity for Inter. Atalanta having to recover should they have had to. And then preview what it will be a Ronaldo-less Juventus against Messi's Barcelona on Wednesday, among other things that we've got in front of us here for the week. So, and then, of course, what everybody really hangs out for, Who Won Calcio Twitter. Time to go through the Calcio tweets that made us laugh. Definitely didn't make us think. And pick a winner out of the batch that we have selected from. There's some pretty good ones this week. Some pretty
Quick
good
shout out to Milan Club Montreal. They're in the house tonight. Obviously well represented, I see, with Anthony and Stevie. So ciao, boys.
Great stuff. Good to see you guys. And we need to get more. We need to get some more of the. We get Inter supporters in here. We get Napoli supporters in here. We get the occasional Juve guy. Cagliari with George. We need to get. I'd like to try to hit every club if we can. In the chat before the season is over with. That's the goal. We get some Spezia, we get some Udinese, we get some. Well, you're Crotone, so we got that covered. But
jersey up back there.
Oh yeah, is it back there?
No, they got Fiorentina and Milan back there.
All right. You got Fiorentina. Speaking of Fiorentina, did you see what Comiso said about Iachini? He said, I'll sack him after all the teams below me sack their managers.
I didn't see that, but he's not that far from the bottom. I mean, I don't know. That's whether he was joking or not. I don't know if Iachini wants to hear that.
Talk about keeping the faith, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's just jump into it. Another great and entertaining match week 5 here in Serie A in the books. But it began on Friday with Sassuolo playing host to Torino, and I knew damn well this game wasn't going to let me down. This was appointment television for me. Sassuolo and Torino again. This finished 3-3, a very, a first half that still had a lot of incident. There were 15 shots. Sassuolo having a lot of the possession, but it would be Torino getting on the score sheet in the 33rd minute. It was Carolinetti scoring on an assist from Mergim Vojvoda. Vojvoda seems to be a bit of a find here for Giampaolo at that right fullback position, getting forward, getting some crosses, and getting Torino on the board against the run of play with a 1-0 lead. It stays that way. 60th minute. De Zerbi has seen enough. Mulder comes in for Can Ayhan. Boga comes in for Maxime Lopez. Barabia comes in for Raspadori, and some of those decisions pay off. It would be Filip Juricic scoring in the 71st minute. Juricic was amazing in this game, by the way. Very good performance for him. A curious substitution just minutes after that when Giampaolo brought on Nkolu in for Simone Verdi. I thought Verdi was pretty influential with getting crosses, with dictating some things, especially in the counterattacking situation. It almost felt like Giampaolo was very happy to just try to survive on the point and try to add an extra defender to absorb all the pressure that they're dealing with. And Giampaolo actually would look good because it would be Andrea Bellotti going the other way and making it 2-1. Andrea Bellotti doing what he does when he plays Sassuolo and that score on them. Usually more spectacular goals than this one, but this counts just the same. Torino going ahead 2-1. They get another counterattack just 2 minutes later, and it'll be Sasa Lukic, a guy that I tipped to do really well in this game. And he can just the position that he was in and with the pace that he can give you just coming around the forwards, and this was a perfect example. Bellotti plays him through, and Lukic makes it 3-1 in the 79th minute. But hold on to your hats, 84th minute, my call for goal of the week. Vlad Chiric's from distance, an absolute blast, upper left corner of the goal. Not going to be many better than that over the course of the season. That might be on the rack for goal of the year. Plenty of season left and a hell of a lot more goals trying to get scored, though. But 3-2 there. And then just a minute later, Domenico Berardi serves one in for Francesco Caputo. A headed goal. Ciccio scoring again. That it counts and everything. 3-3 this ends up being as a final. 34 shots total in this game, Richard. 72% possession from Sassuolo, so clearly Torino going after it on the break. They had 10 on target, so Consigli very important in this game with 7 saves. Sassuolo and Torino, when they get together, they usually don't fail to disappoint, do they?
No, they do not. And Anthony says he misses Caputo on his Fantacalcio, and that's a big mistake because that Caputo scoring goals like crazy. These two teams, when they hook up together, they score a lot of goals. Obviously, Sassuolo is going to score goals. They're going to get their fair share. They're going to give up some as well. Torino, whenever they play Sassuolo, it seems like they finally figure out how to find the back of the net. And it's always fun between these two. And this was certainly an entertaining 3-3 game. Sometimes they're fun, sometimes they're not. This is certainly a fun one. And, no matter what time this game would have started, this is a game you want to wake up for. Like you said, set the appointment, set the clocks, get ready for it, and get your abacus out because lots of goals are going to happen. And we saw 6 in this one. So fun stuff as always.
Yeah, Torino, again, Bellotti on the score sheet again against us. Well, he just loves playing them.
Yeah.
So, entertaining game. Other things that stood out, because I watched a fair amount of this game. Boga getting back, obviously.
Great to see.
Great to see from him. Just some curious decisions, I thought, from Giampaolo to get Nkolu out there and to try to – it looked like he was trying to go to a 3-man defense. He brought off Vojvoda at some point. I think a lot of that had to do with him getting a yellow card and then, being in a pretty compromising position, having to defend Boga. So that was more of a precautious stance that maybe Giampaolo took. But, this is Sassuolo. And I mean, how many points have they gotten this season just from playing from behind? And it's helping to preserve their charge and their stay at the top of the table. They fell to third after all the weekend's games ended. But, man, 5 games played. If you want to be entertained, just see a Sassuolo game because there's been 25 goals in the 5 games they played, 16 scored by them, 9 conceded by them.
Yeah, it's certainly fun with them, and under De Zerbi, they're really coming around. They're really scoring more than they're giving up. They were very fun bad at one point, but now they're just fun. And at times we've seen the season where they've gone down, through lapses and whatever, and they find ways to come back, and that's a sign of a good team. Can they keep this up to all season long? Can they keep a European spot? Time will tell, but at the moment they're doing all the right things. They're showing a lot of fight, despite it doesn't matter if they're down 1 goal, 2 goals, or whatever. They're finding ways to come back, and that's important, I think, not only for confidence for the manager, but also just for the team in general, and knowing that they can come back in any situation and look out. I mean, the more confidence they get, it's going to be dangerous for the teams that are in the bubble spots for those European spots.
Torino's a candidate for our new fun bad team, but I think Benevento is just ahead of them right now. For that title. So
Torino's just bad and occasionally good.
Yep. So Saturday morning began with Atalanta playing host to Sampdoria, and all of a sudden, look out for the Sampdoria team. They are very much improved. And they also have the most goals called back from VAR. Yeah, absolutely. They do. I think that Caputo
has like 10 goals called back this year, it seems like.
Yeah. Which game was against Spezia? He should have had 4.
Yeah, he had 3 called back and then 1 at the end.
Yeah. And I think it was a game, was it Inter where they had a bunch of goals called back during the restart?
Oh, yeah.
Restart portion of the 2019-2020 season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. Atalanta and Sampdoria. Atalanta on Operation Champions League. When you take a look at some of the players that broke into this lineup, Palomino, Sutalo, De Pauli, Mojica, and Lammers, Ilicic getting a chance to start and play a full 90, which was interesting to see. Taking on a Sampdoria side that, like I said, watch out for these guys. They are improving under Claudio Ranieri, and they have personnel that they did not have before, we were making predictions. This is a much more dangerous Sampdoria side, than we were initially looking at. And Ranieri seems like he's starting to get something going here. Evidenced by a first half that, Atalanta controlled 2/3 of the possession, 11 shots, 3 on target, but Sampdoria on the counter, shooting 5 times, getting 3 on target, including a Fabio Quagliarella on the break in the 13th minute, played in by Mikael Damsgaard. 1-0 to Sampdoria. He would get a penalty in the 45th minute that Sportiello would save. And this would put Sampdoria ahead by 1-0. Halftime, Gasparini saw enough, and here comes the cavalry. Zapata in for Lammers, Toloi in for Sutalo, and Gozens in for Mojica, trying to put some pressure, but it didn't work. 59th minute, Morten Thorsby played in by Jakob Jankto to make it 2-0. Gasp still wasn't happy after that. Hateboer in for De Pauli, Malinowski in for Deron. And now it was try and fight and survive if you're Sampdoria at that point, and that's exactly what they did. Duvan Zapata would get a penalty in the 80th minute after a VAR review. It was a fair penalty. It was a fair decision, though.
It was a fair call. I agree about that. It was tight, but I mean, I saw a penalty for sure.
Sampdoria is under siege the rest of the way. Keita Balde comes on as a substitute. He came on in the 66th minute, and he sets up Jakob Jankto for the goal that would put it away and give Sampdoria a shock 3-1 win in Bergamo. We take a look at this, Richard. I mean, Ranieri can set his team up to go at you. He can set his team up to absorb and hit you on the break. He's pretty versatile, and he's got much better personnel at Sampdoria. I mean, this is something that, a couple of problems, a couple issues for Atalanta. Obviously, they completely changed the lineup, and we've seen but using players that have definitely proven themselves at this level. But now you have a Sampdoria team that is definitely much more put together, than they've been over the course of the past year. I'm not claiming Sampdoria as a team that's going to finish top 4 or top 6 or anything like that. But the start that they're off to, they're 7th.
Yeah,
they're scoring goals. Quagliarella is getting back among the goals, and he's getting service. And I think that this team was so devoid of service over the course of the last 18 months.
so much, yeah.
Now you're getting Damsgaard doing some things. Augello we talked about last week. Yankto's starting to round back into form. You get Keitabalde coming in off the bench. Gaston Ramirez, when he gets his act together, can be very, very useful for this team. I really like what Ranieri has set up here at Sampdoria. He's got this team playing well.
He absolutely does. It looks like that bet that I made with Jerry about which Genovese club is going to do well this season. It looks like he's going to win that bet, which I guess is fine with me because I can swear by a Quagliarella jersey or something like that. But
there you go.
Look at the bright side, right? But yeah, no, this team is much different than what we thought going into the season. They're actually playing well. As Sampdoria English tweeted out that they're the Champions League killers, beating both Lazio and then now Atalanta. Impressive performances. I mean, the Tinkerman's doing it again, it seems like. Obviously, it's still early in the season, but I mean, some great results to start the season in the first 5 games. Right now, Sampdoria is sitting there. They're sitting pretty 7th place. They're tied with Juventus and Atalanta in points for the season. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's still far too early, but I mean, some of those guys you mentioned that are stepping up. Damsgaard, I mean, he looks like a find too. And I mean, all these players, Thornsby's getting a goal, and the main thing I took from this that I was saying this last week too, Quagliarella is back. He's getting service, like you said, which is so important. But he looks like he's rejuvenated again. After last year looked so difficult, not getting any service, couldn't get any goals. And just a couple years ago, he scored like 20 some goals. So it's just a big change for Sampdoria, and it's good for them. It's good for the city. I'm going to be really putting my eye on this team as the season goes on, because if they can keep this momentum up, that's going to be a huge surprise that nobody expected outside of Sampdoria. So kudos to Ranieri again. Excellent job so far against some really good clubs, and let's see if they can keep it up.
And it's 3 straight wins, scoring 8 goals and conceding only 2. And against Fiorentina, Lazio, and Atalanta. I mean, so it's not like they're not like they're playing. I mean, at Fiorentina and then hosting Lazio and then at Atalanta, you would have thought, okay, maybe a point out of those 3, under previous form. Anthony's asking, will Samp be able to sustain this form?
$1 million question right there.
I mean, you're not, constantly winning every time you step out on the pitch. No, obviously not. And they won the Coppa Italia game today against Salernitana. Has to be said there. They won 1-0. But they are now set up they can make it difficult on the big boys. Are they going to win every time out? No, they're not going to. This is not sustainable. They're going to come back into the real world a little bit, but this is not a team that's a relegation struggler anymore. We said, back during our preview, that we thought that both these Ligurian clubs, Sampdoria and Genoa, were in a lot of trouble, and one, if not both, could go down. But the ship has definitely been righted. Ferrero looks like a very happy owner right now too. And when he's happy, when he's happy, it's a win for all of us, because some wonderful things are spoken by him and
his facial reactions and stuff.
Yes. So
I think it could be very much like Hellas last year, in the sense that they're going to make it difficult for people, have some surprise wins like they have already. And Hellas was able to keep that for the whole season long, that momentum going. And maybe that's what Sam can do, is make it competitive, make it difficult, like you said. Can they be, giant killers all season long? I doubt it. But, can they be competitive all season? Absolutely, if they can ride this momentum. Confidence is a funny thing, and good confidence like this can ride for a long time and builds guys' momentum. I would not be surprised if they sustained the competitiveness throughout the season, or at least for the first half of the season. I agree about the winning streaks. I don't know about that. Yeah,
mid-table's fair. Upper mid part of the table is very fair for them. they might still yet creep into an 8th or a 9th position before this is all done. It's not out of the question, but I mean, it's very reasonable to think that this is an upper mid-table team, and a team that's definitely going to be safe. And, I mean, Antonio Cantoreva hasn't totally gotten his hands around this yet either. So they're doing this without him, which, there was a lot of buzz about his signing. But it's what it is. But Sampdoria, Atalanta, it's one of those that you chalk it up. I mean, on another day they win. Yeah, with what they did and with what they produced, it was just one of those days for them.
Happens a lot. It's happened a lot more lately, huh? Oh well.
Do you get concerned about their defending though? I mean, the nature with which they're conceding goals. I mean, even in the Champions League today, the goal they gave up to Traore. I mean, these seem to be the kind of goals that they're allowing. That their center backs switching off just enough, to bring forwards into the play and give them the chances to finish. I had a big criticism on Palomino on the first goal by Quagliarella, not even anywhere close to him.
Yeah.
I think the defending from Atalanta has just been relatively shocking. And if they're going to put a dent in some of these things, top 4, Champions League, all of this other stuff, I mean, the rate they're going, there's going to be a lot of 4-3, 5-3 kind of games that they're going to have to win if the defending continues like this.
I mean, the whole adage is what defense wins championships, right? And not to necessarily go for championships, but to do well in all these competitions, you need to play some kind of defense. And at the moment, they're not. They're kind of giving it by the wayside. And it seems like they're, at the moment, trying to focus on one competition in particular, the Champions League, even though it didn't go well today. But yeah, it's worrisome, and if they don't start turning around here by end of November, I'm starting to get worried here, because that's going to be a sign that a team that they can score goals, sure, but they can't stop the goals, and they're going to be coming back to fun bad that we used to. Now that's how this whole thing started, is with Atalanta being fun bad, and that's not where they want to be, because yes, they can outscore many teams, but it's not sustainable to success for a long period of time. So they need to figure it out quick, because once they if they progress in Champions League, if they progress in Coppa Italia and are trying to aim for the top 4 or even the top spot, if you don't play defense, you're gonna lose, because a lot of these teams can play defense, and if you can't score, you can't stop anybody. That's a recipe for disaster.
12 goals conceded so far through the first 5 games. That is joint 3rd worst with Cagliari. Only Spezia and Crotone have conceded more. So, at least, through the first 5 games, and you want to talk about rates, Torino have given up 11 through 4. So they're going to fall if they can play a 5th game. That game with, I think it was one with Genoa that got, maybe they'll blank Genoa. Who knows? Atalanta banking that they can continue outscoring their opponents. It's looking that way. There were spells when they were going on this stream run where they just completely dominated everybody that they played, and they didn't concede much. Yeah. So, but this is pretty alarming. And not a good sign for Ledea as they go forward. Inter was at Genoa, and 3 words when it comes to Christian Eriksen: it's not working.
Yeah,
he's terrible. No. He's terrible for me. He just doesn't. It's a square. If there's a square peg in a round hole, it's him.
And anyone who watched this game, 2 words: bore fest. But it's Eriksen is a big problem with that. Antonio Conte cannot figure out where to put him in that lineup, and it's not working, as you said.
Yep. First half, Inter dominated possession, got 5 shots, got nothing on target. Genoa couldn't even get a sniff of the goal. It was, Inter just toyed with them practically, and Conte saw enough and pulled Eriksen after 58 minutes. Brought on Nicolo Barella.
Good move.
And also brought on Hakimi for Perisic, and then that started creating some pressure. And then, lo and behold, just 6 minutes later, Nico Barella provides the ball for Romelu Lukaku, my pick for Capocannonieri. He's got 5 through 5 games. If we go to the Romelu Lukaku tracker, he's on pace for 38, which would break the record. There's only a certain 39-year-old that's ahead of him right now, which we'll get to later. 15 minutes later, it would be an unlikely source and an unlikely provider. Andrea Ranocchia, probably the only assist he's ever gotten in his life at this level. Assisting Danilo D'Ambrosio, making it 2-0. Inter definitely put a lot more pressure on Genoa in the second half. Away. They were just the better team. Yeah. It took them 60 minutes to get it going. It took getting the shape back to something more customary, where you get Hakimi involved, you get Barella doing the things that he does, and having his influence, and all of a sudden the thing looks a lot different, and Inter go on and win the match.
Yeah, the dish rags. I mean, Inter. Excuse me. They look a lot different when.
Tablecloth FC.
Tablecloth FC. No, they look like a different team. Obviously, with Barella in there because there's almost an immediate impact there. But Lukaku this season, I think, is you picked him for Capocannonieri and for good reason. I mean, especially since he's lost that weight, he's become more dynamic as a striker. He can obviously run now he can run his good pace now. He's got more silky with the ball, and he's still got the finishing power. And so. He's really dragging this team along for especially those matches like this one where it's a little bit difficult for them. It took them 60 minutes to get into this game, and I think without him in like Champions League games, they're without. And so once the rest of the team catches up with him, maybe not Eriksen necessarily, but once the rest of them catch up with him, I think the team's going to be in a nice place. But can they get to that point? Conte keeps tinkering with the lineups, and haven't found anything just yet. I mean, I think we've seen Alexis Sanchez has been really good for them over the last couple seasons. Barella is obviously starting to come into his own now, and why he didn't start this game, maybe we're just trying to rest him after the last week. I don't know, but it's a little worrisome to me right now how it's this little rough patch that Inter's going through. I guess it's better than happening at the end of the season like they normally do, but still, there's teams that they should put away and they're not. In general, would have been one I would expected like 6 goals from them. Yep.
Lukaku, you know what amazes me about him? I can't remember the last time he was fouled. Like, do you notice that
he's too strong?
He almost never gets fouled because how do you foul a guy who's just
a rock?
I mean, you can't. You're trying to get around to get when he's got his back to you. You're trying to get around. You can't get around him to get to the ball. You kick at him, he won't. He can just he absorbs it. It's astonishing to me. I don't think that Shakhtar fouled him in this game either. He might have gotten tripped once, but in the Champions League game, but Genoa didn't even foul him. You wonder. It's like how do you foul somebody with that kind of, and then when he runs with power, and how do you bring him down? And
like Adriano said, the freight train. I mean, you can't bring him down.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I just kind of noticed as you watch Lukaku play. It's astonishing because you see forwards absorb a ton of punishment, and get fouled, and some go down a little bit easier, and some, take the foul and get right back up and play. I just never see Lukaku getting fouled. It's odd to me.
The difference between like him and say like a Duvan Zapata or like even Cristiano Ronaldo to an extent. Lukaku is just so much stronger than they are. They're going to get fouled. They're going to go down, but he's a big, bulky, strong man, and he's not going to go down easily. And you're really going to have to do something, dangerous or something, a yellow card or a red card to get him down, because he's good on the ball and he can hold it off and lay it off to Arturo or whomever else is running along. So, he's playing excellent at the last season and a half with 34 goals last year, and he's already off to 5. I mean, he's a great start for him for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Lazio and Bologna, what a curious game this was. Bologna has to feel aggrieved to not have come away with a point.
Yeah.
2-1 to Lazio. No scoring until the second half. Luis Alberto in the 54th minute, and then it was Ciro from Fares in the 76th minute. Fares is going to prove to be a nice signing for them.
I think so for sure.
He's off to a really good start. Lorenzo Di Silvestri getting the consolation there for Bologna, but really shouldn't have even been a consolation with all the chances that they had in this game. You would have tipped them to get another one. Lazio, now we've seen this, is it worrying that it's an opportunistic Lazio? It's not necessarily a Lazio that's winning with dominance, winning with controlling matches and things like that. You talk about, Sampdoria, it's going to be tough to sustain. Going to be tough for Lazio to sustain winning like this.
It is, but I think it could be good for them because last year they're scoring so many goals, putting teams away early in the games and not making it close that they, when it came down crunch time, when they had to fight, they didn't have that experience, right? And so now, at least if they're fighting in these games, yes, it's not looking pretty, but they're finding ways to win. That can go a long way, I think. Obviously, you have to win the games. You can't go and lose like the Sampdoria like they did the other week. But this like in a game where Bologna is not an easy team. On their day, they can beat anybody. And they had some difficulties, and they found a way to win and hold on. I think it'll go a long way. Well, I don't like it, and I don't know how the Laziale feel about it, but I'd rather for them, for their benefit, I think, to be in these games where they're fighting and finding ways to win, as opposed to just blowing teams out and not facing that adversity that they need to progress as a team, and as opposed to just scoring goals for fun and hope that they can blow out everybody.
Bologna have to. I mean, you look at the Bologna side of this. Played 5, lost 4.
Yep.
Only 8 goals, which when you've got the collection of talent, it's criminal to me that Palacio is starting over Musa Barrow. I think that you're much more dynamic if you have him in there with the trio behind him. If you can play Soriano and Sansone and Orsolini, that's much more dynamic to me. I think Santander's a striker that can get stuck in the mud a lot. You want him to be a good hold-up, link-up kind of guy, but it looks awkward with him. I mean, and I think when you see guys like Zapata and Lukaku who are very fluid, at those certain things, and then to an extent Ibrahimovic, and then you come back and you see this is what Bologna has for an answer to that, and it looks awkward. It kind of looks clumsy even. Palacio, what is he as a striker right now? Because I think he's not built for that kind of style of play, and he doesn't have the pace to be able to run off and deal with these services. Palacio is going to have to score by his experience and by being clever and getting into good box positions. And he doesn't even do that well. You have a guy far more dynamic in Musa Barrow that I think you put him up top in front of that attacking 3. When they did it last season, it looked beautiful. I'm surprised that Mihailovic is sticking with Palacio as his striker. Talk about them. I think that it goes without saying. I think they're the biggest underachievers so far this season.
They are, and it's head scratching to me why. Sometimes these managers, there's a guy that they just have something against, and they're not starting for whatever reason. No, we're not seeing the practices, so we don't know. But to us and to many people, Musa Barrow seems like the guy who should be starting every game, like you said. We've seen when he has played with him, when he has started with him, he helps create so much, not only with the goals but also with the assists as well, and creating chances here and there. Palacio, like you said, he's more suited for coming off the bench and getting that late goal, being in there, using his intelligence, his experience to get those like goals, odd goals that not everyone's going to get. That's when you bring him in. He's not going to be a 90-minute guy. He's not Ibrahimovic, to start a whole 90 minutes and be effective in that whole time. So it's head scratching to me, and I kind of want to reach out to the Sempre Bologna or look up more about this case, because I'm curious why they're not starting Musa Barrow. It seems odd to me, because we said when he first signed with them, we're like, this is the piece that they may need with striker, because they have the midfielders, they just need a striker. And we thought that was a piece, but he's not playing for whatever reason consistently. I don't know if it's injury or what, but that's a little worrying to me, and I think that has a lot to do with them underachieving, because this team is a decent team. They're probably a mid-table team if you look with their talent, but for whatever reason, they just can't do it. And the 8 goals that you said, and I think most of those goals are just poaching goals by our man Palacio. So yeah, I'd like to see some more dynamism with their forward, and I think Barrow's the only guy in that roster that can provide it. So, so we'll have to see. Sunday morning, and last of my batch. If you woke up, you were entertained. Cagliari and Crotone, a 4-2 final for Cagliari, another team that starting to get it going under their new boss. 2 straight wins now for EDF after a slow start out of the blocks. It would be Crotone getting on the score sheet first, though. Junior Messias, am I pronouncing that right? Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Assisted by Arkadiusz Rechka. Or Reka, putting Crotone ahead by a 1-0. It would be Charalampos Lykogiannis in the 25th minute, equalizing. Giovanni Simeone scoring again, this time in the 35th. Yeah. Assisted by João Pedro. Salvatore Molina equalizing in the 43rd, but just before halftime, a guy that Francesco Porzio was high on in our preview, Ricardo Sotil. Played in by Gabriele Zappa in the 45th. 3-2, very entertaining first half. you would think the game would have taken a downturn after Luca Cigarini was sent off. Apparently, Luca Cigarini didn't want to play nice against his former team. Got a second yellow, got sent off because the possession was honestly shockingly even for a Crotone that was down to 10 men. But you got what you were going to expect from Cagliari in that moment. In that second half, they had 13 shots and they had 5 on target. So it was counterattack city from them. They would ultimately get the goal. It would be João Pedro in the 84th minute. And that sealed the deal. A game that the red card, when you look at how both of these teams approached this game, killed it because Crotone was very much in this game, creating chances. They only got 3 shots in the second half. Despite the possession that they were able to get. They had much more purpose with them in the first half, but they ended up playing with a lot more caution. Cagliari ends up taking advantage, starts pressing, starts winning in certain areas, and be able to produce chances off of it. A 4-2 win for the Sardinians, and two wins in a row. It might be Torino and Crotone, who are both sitting around the bottom right now, but EDF has to start winning somewhere to get this thing going, and these are all confidence builders for them.
Oh, absolutely, and what a game to do it. Obviously, to get that many goals is always nice, and Simeone scoring goals. Now, we knew Pedro was going to score goals, but to have Simeone contributing now is big for them, to have 2 goal scorers. It's a really good thing for Cagliari. Obviously, they're at home, they play well, but like you said, EDF needs these confidence boosters. The team needs these confidence boosters, and this is a game that they should win, and they did. Last season they found ways to lose these types of games, and so this season they're rounding the corner, and it's off to a good start, and they need to continue that good start. Last year they had a good start and faded terribly, and they can't afford to do that. So I think the way that they're set up at the moment, it'll breed success. We'll see, but yeah, it's been good stuff so far, and I think for me the best thing has been Simeone, contributing as well as João Pedro, because we know Pedro's going to score goals.
Yeah, indeed. So, Crotone has conceded the most goals in Serie A so far. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs. I mean, when they open the season conceding 4 to Genoa, it's going to tell you the story of what they're about. And you look at this team. Luperto. Help me out here. Was Luperto with Napoli? Was that the guy Sebastiano Luperto? Was he?
He might have been.
Was he was he Albiol's replacement or Koulibaly's replacement for a period under Carlo Ancelotti? Because that's where his name rings a bell.
Yeah, he might have been briefly.
Yeah, and ordinary. I mean, he was decent in this game, but you got guys like Vladimir Golemic and Lisandro Magalan, who I don't have the first clue what they can do. And again, I'm looking at it when you talk about Genoa. I'm looking at another team, and when I look at guys, who would I take? Probably Simi, but he wouldn't start. This Messias is got some promise to him, but it's all about what's going on with them defensively, and it doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. And to Simi's point, he had a nice play in the game where he nearly scored, had a beautiful first touch, and got him open, but. Other than that, he needs to do a little bit more. He tends to score, it seems, only against Juventus, it seems like. But, it's they need more contributions for this team. They're at the moment, they're flirting with – it seems like they're a relegation-type team. They have some talent. They have enough Serie A veterans that they could, get them out of it. But at the moment, they're not playing like it at all. And the amount of goals is given up, everything says – this is relegation team. Everything that comes out of this is relegation team, and it's not good for them. 4 goals to Genoa, who's probably going to get relegated this year. Not a good sign. Not a good sign.
Not pretty at all. So take it away with the other half of the fixtures.
Yeah, so first game up, it's Benevento hosting Napoli. It would be the Insigne brothers in this one, one for each team. And it'd actually be the younger one, Roberto Insigne, opening the scoring in the 30th minute. Getting a nice goal, nice momentum for him to be, to score against, Napoli. Very touching moment there. That lead would last about 30 minutes or so, and then his older brother got into the action, scored a goal of the week candidate, a beautiful left-footed shot, top corner, made it 1-1 at that point, and just 7 minutes later, the fat man joined the party. Andrea Petagna gets a goal, makes it 2-1. That's all the goals that they would need. Napoli would get the win, 2-1. First off, the Roberto Insigne scoring against Napoli, scoring against his brother's team. Touching moment for him. How did you feel when you saw that go in?
Yeah, I mean, the Insigne boys each scoring in this game was fun to see. You know, it's not often you see siblings in the same game scoring. I mean, it's extremely rare. So it was a proud moment for him, a chance to, you know, with his brother, the family watching, and all that other stuff, and certainly a lot of sentiment to it. So well done for him.
So we got to say the older brother got the better of the 2 goals. What a rocket of a left-footed shot. I mean, that's a weak foot. I mean, beautiful shot by Lorenzo. And then pies for everybody. Petagna contributes
pies for everybody.
Pies for everybody.
It's been a while since we've been able to say that.
That's right. Well, he's been in hiding apparently. You know, down at I don't know where he was at Spal. So.
They were paying him in pies.
Yeah, I thought when I heard that he was going to come on, I thought it was going to be for Osimhen, and it wasn't. To see them both play together, and you know, though Osimhen didn't get a goal or anything, he could draw away some of the defenders to free up Petagna, and Petagna did good. I mean, he had a give and go, got the ball back, and was able to score a goal. So he can still score goals despite his slow of pace and penchant for food. But good for Napoli to get another goal scorer in there. You know, Petagna can contribute. We know he can. And in situations like this would be perfect for him, where he can just, you know, get a cleanup goal and get some nice points for Napoli. So a tough one for them, tougher than expected, I'm sure, to be 2-1 only to Benevento, but they found a way.
And then the notes, I have one big note I had on this. I think it's got to be doing Napoli fans a ton of good to see the form that Matteo Politano was in too. And he came on as a substitute in this one.
2 assists in this one.
Came on as a substitute in this game.
58th minute, and then instantly within a few minutes got 2 assists. I mean, good stuff.
Yep. You know, the combination of goals and assists that he's amassed so far, you know, this season has got to be a very, very encouraging sign. You know, it was obvious when Lorenzo Insigne came back, Chucky was going back over to the right and Politano was going back to the bench, but that doesn't deter him. He goes in and he proves that he has a place in this team, you know, with the way that he's played. So I like how that is interchanged. And I like that dynamic of Petagna and Osimhen together up front. As you said, Osimhen has got a lot of range. I mean, I think as we go more and more in the week, I think we're more and more into the weeks here, we're getting closer and closer to anointing Osimhen to being at that level of Zapata and Lukaku with what he does for Napoli. So you know, where he's providing the range, he's pulling defenders apart, and Petagna can just sit in the box, you know, and wait for service to come in. You know, it's a useful way to do it. So, I'm, you know, I like the versatility also that Gattuso's showing. You know, there's purpose to his substitutions. And one of the criticisms that Milan fans would have of Gattuso was when he subbed, you didn't understand what he was doing. Nobody understood what the tactics were changing to or anything like that. Yeah. But it feels like there's more purpose to what he's doing when he makes these decisions, and he's got this Napoli team playing really well.
He absolutely does. And so we'll see what happens with the appeal that they're going with from that Juventus match. But I mean, this team is playing well. They had that one hiccup last week, but during Champions League. But overall, they're playing really well this season in Serie A. And you know, as the games get bigger for them, I'm curious to see how they respond to those kind of games. So
sure,
absolutely. Next game is Parma hosting Spezia. Battle of the possible 2 teams are going to lose their managers. Who knows? The scoring started early. Julian Chabot scored in the 28th minute, made it 1-0 Spezia. And just a couple minutes after that, Kevin Agudelo gets a goal, makes it in the 31st minute, makes it 2-0 Spezia. And it looks like Leverani might be losing his job right there on the spot. But just 3 minutes later, Ricardo Gagliolo scores a goal, makes it 2-1 to pull one back. It was tense moments there for a while. Didn't look like Parma were going to get that goal, but they finally get a penalty in the 92nd minute. Juraj Kučka steps up, scores a goal. But first, was that a penalty for you on the big man Cornelius? It was close.
Yes.
It's certainly more clear-cut than anything we saw in the Milan game. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a penalty.
Barely.
A reckless from the defender, I think, in a situation like that, just to be swinging your leg free willy-nilly, and you touch an attacker, they're going to go down in the box more than not. So
yeah, I barely there. I mean, it was clumsy. I can't remember the defender. Was it Sohm? That's the one who he got booked.
I believe it was. I can't remember
whether it was him or who it was. But nonetheless, Parma's really struggling, and they're conceding goals. I mean, they're playing loose. Where Liverani, like we said, had him playing like this.
You there, Frank? You froze.
And subsequently costing him points. We were lost there for a second.
Yeah, I thought you were just pausing for dramatic effect.
No, wasn't pausing for dramatic effect. So, still, I mean, these issues aren't going to go away themselves. Parma's ownership might get to a point where they're going to long for getting Diversa back.
I think so.
It's it's one of those things. I don't think the Spezia manager is in the kind of trouble that Liverani is in.
No, far less expectations of him than of Parma.
Italiano. I mean, and at the moment he's got Spezia in 14th. Certainly doing a little bit better than we anticipated. Whether that can sustain itself is going to be another question. But we'll see. 5 games in, again, we're still early days. We're getting some kind of idea of what these teams are going to be about, but let's get a few more games and let's get a bigger sample size and see what we've got.
Pretty even matchup too. You look at all the statistics and it pretty much is even throughout the score. So I mean, ultimately it could have been a fair score, but I mean, they certainly made things difficult for themselves. Did Parma with the way they couldn't find the back of the net until the very late stages of the game. Speaking of putting stuff in the back of the net, a game that had no trouble with that was Fiorentina hosting Udinese. This game had 2 braces in it. We had started off the score in Gaetano Castrovilli, in the 11th minute, assisted by Baraghi. Makes it 1-0 for Fiorentina. About 10 minutes later or so, Nikola Milinkovic gets a goal in the 21st minute, assisted by Castrovilli. 2-0 at that point. Just before halftime, Stefano Okaka gets a goal in the 43rd, makes it 2-1 going into halftime. Coming out of the break, Castrovilli does it again, assisted by Baraghi once more. They go up 3-1, and looks like they're going to have an easy victory, but hold on, Udinese keep fighting back. The big man Okaka gets another goal in the 86th minute, pulls it back to 3-2. Unfortunately for them, they could not get another goal in there. Fiorentina win the shootout 3-2. Iachini gets a much-needed win for Fiorentina. They've been having some very poor results as of late, but in this game, Castrovilli was the man in action. Really, Baraghi had a good game as well. 2 assists in this one. Really big for them in their victory.
I think that ever since Chiesa left, it's flowed better for Fiorentina. Now it's not totally showing up in the results yet, but they've come away. They drew Spezia. They beat Udinese. They're getting in the middle of some entertaining games because they're playing a system, and how does Chiesa fit? He's using him as a wing back. They're trying to push him up. They're going all over the place. Here it's a little bit more clear cut. The roles are a little bit more defined, and it opens it up for different players to contribute. In this case, Castrovilli, who we think we have a lot of expectations for this season. He's been highly regarded here for a while now. They mentioned Callejon in the role here for, so odd to see Callejon in a different jersey than Napoli. I agree with you there, Ken. It's odd to see Jack in a Fiorentina jersey too. Still getting used to that. So, but I think that the roles are a little bit better. There's not a lot of confusion. There's not a lot of over-dependence on a player like Chiesa. Biraghi can just, go nuts on the left side and cross everything in sight. Polirola has certainly from a fit standpoint is much more of a right wing back. Yeah. And then like you got Castrovilli, you got Callejon, who, still has something left in the tank. Vlahovic is the one guy that a little frustrated with because
expected a lot of him.
With what's around him, he should be more prolific.
Yeah.
And you wonder maybe this Fiorentina team could be even better with a more prolific striker.
Yeah.
So I thought Larola was excellent, especially in the first half. Yeah, I mean, he fits in this 3-5-2 and in that right wing back system. They tried jamming Chiesa into that, and I think Juve's even tried to jam Chiesa into a wing back role once or twice.
Yep.
And it hasn't looked good. It's not what he does.
No, it isn't. It isn't. Another guy who did well in this game, I thought, was Mr. Goalkeeper for Fiorentina. Dragowski had some amazing saves in this game. I mean, Udinese did try to bring it, forced 4 big saves from Dragowski in this game, and that he has an epic beard, by the way. I love the beard that he's got, but he had some point blank saves. I mean, you got to give him credit for those saves in there, and probably is another big reason why they won, because the timely saves. They weren't just big; they're timely saves. So that coupled with Castrovilli and Biraghi having good games, they held off the charge by Okaka and the team. So good for them. It's a much needed win, like we said, because they had been struggling before that.
Udinese is got to be kicking themselves, wondering how they don't come out of this with at least a point.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
With the chances they created, and they're playing better. They're starting to score goals. I mean, that was an issue for the first 3 games. They couldn't score.
Yeah.
You've got Lasagna and Okaka up front. They kept DePaul. That's a huge deal for them.
100%.
Roberto Pereira will help them. But what I like these wing backs, and we talked about Uwejan last week. And he didn't have much of an influence in this game, but Nahuel Molina on the right did. Putting a lot of pressure with some of the crosses that he did and with some of the things that he created. He created a couple of chances on his own, 7 crosses, and also does a little bit of extra work defensively. So this is a interesting mix of guys here that Udinese has, and their game that they play is going to be very frustrating for opponents to cope with. Our team in particular, we can't deal with teams that cross and get into box positions right now. That's a big issue. We'll get to that here shortly.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. But yeah, Fiorentina found a way to win, 3-2. Next game on the docket is Juventus hosting Hellas Verona. I keep wanting to say Verona. I don't know why. This game was an interesting game. I always thought this game was going to be a more defensive game. Andrea Pirlo's men have struggled from the onset to really establish themselves offensively. And it showed with many draws to start the season. This would be another one. Goal scoring started in the 60th minute. Andrea Favilli, I believe a former Juventus product. He may still be a Juventus product. Scores in the 60th minute. A really nice play to set that up. And they held the lead for almost 20 minutes until Dejan Kulishevsky, pretty much one man show, gets the goal, makes it 1-1. The game ends 1-1. Another draw for Andrea Pirlo's men. A very lackluster performance. I mean, look at the possession. They had 60% possession as opposed to Hellas's 40. More saves are obviously forced on Verona because Juventus is making shots. Dybala had some great opportunities, and some of the other guys as well. 21 shots for Juventus, but still, with all the possession they have and all the shots, then none of them have been really real quality. And the goalkeeper didn't have to make any super big saves. And again, it's a lackluster performance, a 1-1 draw. I'm wondering if all these draws are going to come back to kick him later on in the season. They're still in the mix. They're 9 points right now, I think, or something like that. So they're still very much in it. But at some point, losing these 2 points every game is going to come back to haunt you. Are you worried at all about how they've started this season? Not to the level that we expect them with the star-studded lineup that they have.
No, and the reason for this is because we've seen this before with them. Seeing Juve struggle fills me with immense joy. Yeah, I mean, this is a good time. We get to kick them when they're down. But the flip side to this is, how many times throughout this run of consecutive Scudetti have we seen them struggle like this coming out of the blocks? But then they get it figured out and they come together. And it usually comes when there is some sort of big change that adversely affects them. Like the year that Pjanic and Higuain came to town, the Scudetto was over the second those guys were signed. Yeah. And they dominated from the start. The year of the Napoli Scudetto pact, I can't remember exactly what it was that shook up their team a little bit, but they started from behind. Napoli got off to a great start, and they rallied to come back. Sarri taking over last year. Adaptation period. Inter jump out in front. Juve finally get it together, come back, win the title. Actually tried as hard as they could to give the title away, but nobody was taking it.
Nobody wanted it.
Yeah, nobody wanted it. So I've seen the pattern, and I've got no reason to believe otherwise. I think that this is a Juve side that I think they're going to come good at some point. And it's not because they don't have Ronaldo.
No. They're playing like this with him.
Paulo Dybala fills the mold. Just how hard did Paulo Dybala try to score? He had 9 total shots in this game himself. I like the role that Juan Cuadrado is in. I think Mary Demirel is going to get better and better. I like him.
I do too.
And I think that these midfielders are better. They got to get McKennie back too. Morata for me, I think screws this up. I don't think you start him. I think he's I would have, and we said this all along at the beginning of the season. They started with Kulusevski and Ronaldo up front, and they looked dominant when they beat Sampdoria 3-0. And that win is looking better and better right now.
It is.
Now they're trying to jam Morata into this, and they look a little bit more predictable when they've got the ball, and they look a little bit more predictable going forward. And he is a reference point and a target where you had 2 guys pulling defenses in all different directions. I'd rather see that in this particular 3-5-2. Morata's a guy that you bring on late in the game when it's level or you're behind a goal and you want a guy that can get in the box. I just would personally prefer that. Now, I don't know where Juventini stand on this.
All Juve podcast was on the chat. I don't know if they're still in because I'd love to hear their point of view to see how they think the team lines up. But yeah, it's I agree with you. I think having Kulusevski and Ronaldo up there fit really well into the system, and I think having Morata up there kind of throws everything out of balance, and it's almost like they're trying too hard to give him the ball, even though it may not be the case. But when you have Kulusevski and Ronaldo, like you said, you got 2 guys who can throw the defenses off. They like to move around. They're both good, both feet. So it makes the defenses think a lot more as opposed to a guy just like Morata, where they can just focus on him, worry about him, and then everything else they can block it off. So yeah, it's hopefully. There's more tinkering that Pirlo will have to do to make this work. And maybe the first piece that they need to do is bring Morata off the bench and leave him on the bench and bring him on late in the games and start Kulusevski and Ronaldo up top or 2 other guys up top because it seemed that was working before.
Backline isn't good enough for a 3-5-2. There's some truth to that because right now, they're
no De Ligt. Remember that?
Well, yeah, there's no De Ligt. You got to get him back. Chiellini got hurt again. Danilo is a right back. He's not on the left side of a back 3.
Yeah.
So jamming him in there, causes some issues. And I think that's where things kind of get disrupted, and you're asking Bernardeschi now to be a wing back, which I know Pirlo has experimented with a lot. And let's not forget about Pirlo is learning on the fly. And we have seen managers in his position, no major job somewhere else. And it's choppy waters to start with. But then once he gets it figured out and once he gets the system in place and the players, and once he figures out the fit, it takes off. I go all the way back to when Leonardo first managed Milan. And we all thought what a joke that was that he was taking over. And then he started with Ronaldinho as a trequartista, and then he realized the light bulb went off, and then he realized that his best chance to win is playing 4-3-3, with Ronaldinho on the left, and Borriello as his striker. And all of a sudden, I think from there to the end of the season, I think Milan had more points than anybody. Inter went on and won the title, and Milan finished second, but Milan had more points than anybody from that point forward. So those are some of the, that's an example. There's been others. Once Napoli bought into Gattuso, how good they were playing. Once this Milan that bought into Pioli, how good they were playing, the points they were accumulating. So, once Pirlo gets it figured out and can get set on it, Juve still have a chance to take off here. And they have the talent to do it. So I'm not writing them off. I'm not saying they're in big trouble. I'm not agreeing with anybody in the chat. I love all of you guys, but I don't have anything to point to that tells me that they should be in trouble. Every time they've gotten themselves in this situation, they've gotten out of it. And I don't know why this isn't any different.
Yeah, it's like you say with any other leagues that has the champions that was the same champions, right? So it's Juve, you got Bayern in Germany, you got PSG in France. It's like until they prove you wrong, you really can't go against them because what have they done to deserve that, right? They've proven that they can win. So, prove us wrong before you doubt them. So, before we move on, Hellas, what do you make of their game plan in this one? I mean, they're obviously trying to soak up the pressure. Only 5 shots in this game. Obviously, their game plan was to soak up as much pressure as they could, hit them on the counter. It obviously got the early goal with Favili. Is this what we're going to expect of them? Against the bigger teams this year. I mean, obviously they have a pretty good defense. They had last year one of the best defenses in the league. Statistically, is this what we're going to see from them all season long?
I don't think they have a choice.
Yeah,
I mean, because I don't think they have the horses to try to go and try to match with the elite teams over a 90-minute period. And play a
you don't think Kalinic can do it for them?
I don't. No,
he doesn't.
I see Ibrahim Makoli out there for Hellas Verona. He's another guy that came over from Atalanta.
Antonin Barak, I think if he can get his act together, I mean, he could be a good pick for them. DeMarco as well. They got some pieces, Lazovic I've always liked. Tamizi is another player as well. Faraone, but yeah, there's some pieces there, but I think they need more speed if they're going to play this counter game and soak up the pressure and go, because being able to outpace your opponent when you get that counter is so important. If you're not able to outpace them and they, what's the point then? You're just basically making yourself more tired. At that point, you just park the bus and launch it down the field. I mean, yeah,
I think I think that Juric is smart because his best players are in the back. Lovato was huge. Yeah, he was. And so was Ceccarini. Ceccarini had a nice game too. Silvestri obviously with the saves. And Emperor had some good games, toward the second half of last season. So that's a solid enough back three. And then you can counter through guys like Lazovic and Faraoni on the wing back positions. So you've got that. And the forwards can do just enough. I mean, Nikola Kalinic is a bad idea. I don't know how the hell he still finds work. But Coley, Zakanye, some of these guys, I think that there's, I think that they're going to have to play absorb and hit, much of the season. I think that they're going to be built that way. I think Juric is going to have them built that way. If they can be patient, it's a system that's very successful. It's not pleasing for us to watch. But it has a chance to survive. I think the players are there to carry out what Juric wants. It's, what it'll mean in terms of wins and losses and where they're at in the table. I think they're a solid mid-table team. I don't think they're getting relegated anytime soon. But I think that's what they're going to have to play to when you look at the talent that they have.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree totally about that. All right, moving on to the game that could have been the game of the weekend. It fell just short, I think. But it was an entertaining game for neutrals, I would think, for the most part. A lot of goals if you like goals, but let's just get right into it. Milan hosting Roma in this one. Goal scoring started early. Rafael Leao putting the pressure on the defense, getting a nice cross in, and Zlatan with his 70-foot legs gets the ball in past Mirante. 1-0 early on in the game in the second minute. Didn't take long for Roma to respond. Edin Dzeko in the 14th minute made it 1-1. That's the scoreline we would go into halftime. Coming out of the break, again, Rafael Leao playing assist man, gets an assist to Alexis Salemakers. I'm not going to even try to pronounce it like Stevie does over Milan Club Weekly.
Salsiccia maker.
Salsiccia maker. In the 47th minute, makes it 2-1 for Milan. And the fun one just gets started there. In the 71st minute, I don't know what Giacomello was thinking. Decides to give a ghost penalty on a play that Benacer gets fouled by Pedro. So they get somehow a penalty in all this. Jordan Veretout steps up, scores a goal in the 71st minute, makes it 2-2. 8 minutes later, he decides he wants to make a bad call going the other way, and Milan get a ghost penalty as well. Ibra steps up, scores a goal, makes it 3-2 in the 79th minute. And just when we thought this game was going to end by that scoreline, Zlatan makes a rare mistake leading to a goal that Marish Kambula gets in the back of net. 3-3 in the 84th minute. That's how it would end. But where do you want to start with this game? Obviously, the refereeing is going to be the big talking point. But I thought this game had a lot of potential of being a the game of the weekend, and it turned to be a very poorly played game, in my opinion, by both teams, not just Milan. I thought Mirante was man of the match for me just because he made some huge saves, kept Roma in it to make it 3-3. But overall, I thought it was a poor performing game by both clubs, and the refereeing was just pathetic.
Well, Giacomelli is suspended for a month now.
Yeah,
and
for the Juve Milan game. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, and the VAR official that was involved in that game has also got a 1 month suspension. So that's what Lega Calcio thinks of their performance. If you want to start there, but putting that aside, first of all, you have a goalkeeper who has never played for Milan before, in Tatarusanu, because Donnarumma has COVID-19. And whenever you have a new goalkeeper that you're going up against that's not been with a team and has not had game exposure, you have to be a lot more careful in set piece situations. That's the one area where it's really, really critical. I mean, if I can be critical of Roma, created nothing in this game. Look at their goals. 2 corners and a ghost penalty.
Romagnoli played very poor, I thought.
Yeah, it was a disappointing game from Romagnoli. Teo was poor again. He's been struggling of late. And Frank, I don't think played. I mean, he played a lot better in the derby. So, first of all, what do we say about after the Inter derby? I said, where are Milan going to get killed? Any kind of crossing situation, because there's not a lot of attention being paid to where the runs are going. And Dzeko does a nice job getting into a blind spot on the first goal. Tatrasanu's positioning was poor as well. It's probably a ball he could have gotten to. On the second one, it's a second ball situation. It's a very poor, I've seen people saying on Twitter that Ibrahimovic should have headed away. I mean, Kung Fu kicked it. And then Kumbula's bright and gets to the second ball. Unfortunately, Frank, we bought him for his experience, and he looked like a double-A goalkeeper on the first goal. When I saw the Romania games over these last couple of months in the Nations League and what have you, he's been in goal for them, and they haven't looked good. And that's a huge red flag for me. So I would have, and I even said, I went to Twitter, I said I would have rather Gigio's brother playing in goal. If you're going to play somebody, because at least he's played with those guys in a big game against Roma. So this is where I'm going to be pretty critical of Pioli. And I know hindsight's 20/20, but that's a game against a high-profile opponent. You got to put somebody in there that's at least been around these guys and has seen a game or two with these guys. And Antonio Donnarumma has. Tatarusanu hasn't. And, what I think people overlook with the tying goal, the third goal for Roma, not only Ibrahimovic's kick, but did you see Tatarusanu? He flinched.
Yeah. He was scared.
How are you a goalkeeper at this level? And you're flinching on a driven corner kick coming in.
I know.
It was a poor goalkeeping performance, but a lot of the things that are haunting Milan, when you watch them in the run of play in these games, they just happen to turn up in set pieces and corners. The attacking players finding the blind spots of the defenders and getting into spots, and the crosses are getting to them, and then getting to the second balls in a lot of situations. These are areas where Milan have been weak, even during this entire winning run. Yeah. And Roma took advantage of it. But other than that, there's really nothing that Roma should be praised for. They created nothing.
Correct.
Nothing.
And I've seen both Milan fans and Roma fans both, blasting their own teams, saying, you played poorly, so there's nothing. I mean, Roma fans feel the same way as, Milan fans are saying that we've created nothing. We didn't deserve a win. I mean, a draw is probably the best in this game because it's a fairly even game, both being poor in that regard. I think a lightning rod conversation that I saw on Twitter during and after the game was the Zlatan mistake, because you had one group saying, well, Zlatan, he shouldn't have done that. He should be blasted for that. Should be blamed for that. You get another group like Martino Pucci coming out and saying, Zlatan can make a mistake. He has so many great plays. he's allowed to make a mistake every now and then. And I kind of side with Martino in that respect, because I do blame Zlatan, but he can get away with it because he got 2 goals in this game as well. He creates a lot of opportunities. Without him, Milan are not as good, So it's a little bit of both, but I agree with kind of Martino the way he says it, because he deserves a break every now and then. He tried to, like as Steve says, he tries for a Cobra Kai clearance and it didn't really work out. But sometimes it does. 9 times out of 10 it does.
I almost want to forgive him at 39 years old to have that kind of flexibility to do that.
I can't do that, and we're about the same. We're about the same age.
Oh, I don't have a prayer now at 45 and with a blown up knee. Tiramisu. We're just gonna get after all the Italian foods and name after these players. So Tiramisu has Sparta game and Udinese to save his job. Well, Steve, I think that Antonio Donnarumma is going to play in goal in those games. So, or if Pioli's smart, that's who's going between the sticks for those. So, I thought Çalhanoğlu played well. And I thought Pellegrini played well. I mean, as far as if you're looking for something good from outfield players in this game, Richard, there was no reason for him to clear the ball away. Yeah, I know, but I mean, still at 39 years old to move his leg like that, to have his leg like that, it's just, it's sad. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't forgive him. It's a situation where even with his experience, he should know better. I don't know if he heads it or if he does something different. But anyway, Hakan was playing with half an ankle, and he actually played really well. And I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch. Created 5 scoring chances, had 2 shots on target, had another one blocked, was fouled a couple times. Got 7 crosses off. Some of those were in set piece situations, but Hakan put his influence in this game, even playing hurt. So that was good to see. Like I said, Pellegrini was really good going back the other way. I
was expecting more Spinazzola in this game. He did okay.
Oh,
but
Spinazzola I thought was poor.
Yeah, I expect a lot more from him. He's been lights out to start the season. I thought he was going to cause a lot of damage going down the left wing, but yeah, it was not much really going his way. So Mancini I thought was decent. Mancini I thought played pretty well for the most part, but it was his penalty. His penalty that led to that goal. So yeah, I don't know. It's overall statistically it's pretty even. Possession was 50, 55, 45 or something, but the rest of the statistics are pretty even. Shots on goal, all that stuff. So I mean, a draw was probably what was deserved. I think if I think it would have been a draw at the end of the game.
The draw is fine. Yeah, the draw is fine. It's I think that there's some criticism that you can heap on Fonseca for his team, and then you can heap some criticism on Pioli for playing a goalkeeper who has not played with these guys before in a game environment. When he had a goalkeeper on the bench that has. Yeah. And then what do you make
about
talking about
Castillejo and Krunic coming on, for Salamakers and Leao. Krunic is more like defensive substitution.
Now, Salamakers up until the goal, I didn't think he was very good. Yeah. It was actually very sloppy.
Nice finish though. Leao had a good game, I thought, for the most part.
I thought Leao played pretty well.
2 assists. I mean, he started out the season very well.
Yeah. I thought he played pretty well. I think that there's some things where his technique still gets away from him a little bit in this game, but I thought he played all right. So, he went back for the shape, went for Rade Krunic, tried to go to more of a 4-3-3 look. And this time it backfires it just comes down to those set pieces.
I get the Castillejo move because it's almost like a like for like, but the Krunic move kind of is what irks me. I wouldn't have gone with that necessarily. I probably would have brought in maybe Tonali or something like that, or I don't know. You can even put in a Brahim Diaz in that situation, but Krunic, we see it last game and worked out last game where he scored a goal, but in this one it didn't fit right, I think, and they could have made some other substitutions to make it better defensively, I guess, and that's kind of what he was brought in to do. Krunic was, but it didn't really work out, I think, and obviously it ultimately led to the last goal. Not necessarily him, but
right. So, darn, there's a draw. But the thing that concerns me is these crossing situations. Once again, as a Milan supporter, this is the area of their game that's really weak right now. have conceded. They've conceded 4 goals this season through 5 games. 3 of them came against
3
Roma.
in this game, yeah. They're
Yeah.
playing well
So,
defensively.
in terms of goals against, Hellas Verona has the best defense in the league through 5 games. They've only given up 2. They've only scored 5 times, but they've only given up 2. But now you get an Udinese team you get Sparta Prague on Thursday, which you'll see some rotation, but then you get an Udinese team on Sunday that's playing better, that's scoring goals. And you got crossers that, Oijan and Molina, who we talked about. Oijan's coming from the left against Calabria, and Calabria has been pretty good against the opposing wingback on that side, but Oijan provides a different dynamic because he's not a guy that, Perisic is going to try to run with power, take an end line, cross it back in. Spinazzola really had hardly got a sniff, of getting end line and being able to test Calabria or any of that other stuff. Oijan doesn't have to do that. He will be happy to get the ball just entering the final third and curling one in early. So that is where Kjaer and Romagnoli are going to have to do a good job of keeping Lasagna and Okaka in front of them. Molina also will not have a problem doing that either.
No, he won't.
They'll pump balls in early. They don't need to combine or go 1v1 and take balls end line and cut balls back. They could be very happy just sitting out on their flank 40 yards away and pumping balls in. And that's something that Milan are going to have to be prepared for when they prepare that match.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I agree 100% about that.
So, goals of the week. I got one. It's Chiriches.
Well, that was an impressive goal, no doubt about it. So, I got my top 5. First of my honorable mentions, I'm going to go with Immobile from Faras. Nice bicycle assist to Immobile for that goal. Another honorable mention, Roberto Insigne getting a goal against Napoli. That was as nice to see there. And the last honorable mention for me is Juricic with his backheel flick to get the goal there, and that's a Swallow matchup. But coming at number 5 for me is old man Fabio Quagliarella. I like the way that play set up and the way nice finish by him, short side, top corner. Coming at number 4 for me is Luis Alberto. I thought it was a good play overall. Nice shot by him to make it go in there. Number 3 for me is the big man Lukaku. The assist from Barella was just something pretty there, and then the move he made around the defender and then just launched in the back of the net. That comes in number 3 for me. Number 2 for me, a man you just mentioned, Molina. Beautiful volley there in that game. Wonderful goal. It came in a losing effort, but I thought it was brilliantly struck. And then I have a tie for my number 1. My number 1 obviously is going to be agreeing with you. Chiriches, what a bomb from distance. I mean, top corner, beautiful strike. And I thought equally as good was Lorenzo Insigne's left-footed strike that went in top corner with his weaker foot, no less. Wonderfully done. I thought both those goals were just brilliant. I had to do a co-winner because I agree with you. Chiriches was just phenomenal, but I liked Insigne's strike, no doubt.
I think I just gave up on trying to do a top 5 after I saw the Chiriches.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't have to do this week.
Yeah, done. I'm done.
Yeah. Winners and losers. Sampdoria, 3 wins on the balance is my winner. Getting a big win at Atalanta and a very impressive resume of wins here. Ranieri has got this thing turned around, got it in the right direction now. So big win at Atalanta, now getting into 7th. Loser for me, as I said, Bologna. I think right now, through 5 games, they are the biggest underachievers in this league at the moment. So they need to figure something out with that attack. 8 goals is not enough for what they can provide going forward, and especially with the creativity that they have in their midfield. Sinisa Mihailovic needs to be hard at work on the training ground with these guys, and I imagine that he is.
I agree about that. My losers of the week is going to be Atalanta, losing to Sampdoria 3-1. They've given up a lot of goals lately. Looked poor defensively, giving up goals left and right. Again, in this game, didn't look that great to a team. Maybe Sampdoria is going to become, at the end of the season, one of the stories of the season. Who knows? But at present, that's a team we expect to do a lot more, and they've looked very average at best so far early in the season. So they're my losers of the weekend, and my winners of the weekend are the fans in Napoli, because pies all around. The fat man scored, and he's going to be feeding everybody. So that's my winner of the week, is Mr. Petagna and the Napoli fans. You were just shocked that I picked that. No comment. It just Silent again. Frozen screen. Gotta love technology. It's okay, Frank. That's a one-man show, folks. Till we get Frank on. Gasparini dance, everyone. Like that, Stevie, absolutely. The Gino construction cones on defense. Yeah, Napoli, or Atalanta, I should say, defensively have been a big struggle. No doubt about that. Oh, and we lost Frankie boy. What happened to Frank? Let's see if we can get him on here. All right. Well, while we're waiting for Frank, I'm gonna go into the Champions League here. The two games that we had on today. First, coming up, Inter, a team that we expect a lot from in the Champions League. They struggled in this one against Shakhtar Donetsk. Going to Ukraine is never easy. We've said it many times. They struggled mightily in this one. Only getting 12. I mean, they got 12 shots in this game, but I mean, couldn't get a goal. Couldn't get a goal to save their lives. You have Frank and his internet problems, and I have Vinny. It is what it is, Steve. Maybe you should jump on here and we'll do this together. 0-0. They lose 2 big points in that game. Obviously, Inter do not a great way. They're currently third in their group. And the other game that was that from the Serie teams, Atalanta hosting Ajax, and Ajax actually got off to a 2-0 start to the game. Early goal by Dusan Tadic from a penalty spot. That makes it 1-0 in the 30th minute. 8 minutes later, Traore gets a goal, makes it 2-0. So going to the halftime, 2-0 lead for Atalanta's down. Very, very difficult. Send you the link here. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link. Here we go. But yeah, difficult way for Atalanta to start off the game. Not exactly what you would want, but they did find a way to come back. Duvan Zapata in the 54th minute and his 60th minute to rescue a point for Atalanta. 2-2. As my eye is tearing up here on the call. I'm missing Frank so much that my eyes are tearing up. But 2 draws for the Serie teams. Not the way we expected to start after last week's great start to the campaign. Both teams coming up with a draw. Looking up next week, who we're gonna have. Well, that's all I have. Here we go. We got Lazio on the road against Club Brugge. That game's at 4:00 Eastern, 3:00 Central Time. A game that Lazio should win, but it's going to be a difficult game, no doubt. And then a difficult game for Juventus hosting Barcelona. No Ronaldo in this one. It's going to be a difficult game. You expect Messi to have a better game in this one, especially with their owner, the president stepping down. You expect to have a better game by him. I'm crying. I can't help it, man. Oh, man. So gotta love allergies. Gotta love live podcasts here. So let me try to send Steve a link here. We're towards the end of it. But yeah, that is how our teams are doing in Champions League. Going over to Europa League here. So this weekend we got AC Milan hosting Sparta Prague. That's going to be an interesting game for Milan. See what they can do in that game. And then as well, we also have scrolling through the scores here. It's usually Frank. I gotta be more prepared when Frank's not on here. Roma hosting Siska Sofia. It's a game that they should be able to win in that game. But again, it's a team against a Eastern European team. It's never easy. And obviously not Napoli on the road against Sociedad. That's going to be a difficult game. It's a game that, hey, Frank's on the call. Hey, Frank's in the chat, but he's not in the video. What's going on, man? Come on, buddy. You're killing me. Napoli should win a game against Sociedad, but Sociedad, don't underestimate them. The Spanish teams are always difficult in these competitions. We'll see what kind of rotation Napoli have. They didn't do too well last week. We expect them to bounce back much better in this one, but Frank's chatting on his phone, not in the podcast. It's okay. Maybe I just kicked him off because I want this all to myself. Who knows? But yeah, that's our European teams or our Italian teams in Europe. Let us know what you think about that. Frank, as he continues to chat on the phone here, we're going to go to Who Won Calcio Twitter. Let's share the screen here so everyone can see. All right, coming in at first. Let's make this full screen so everybody can see this. All right, first up is our man, Mr. Art Morelli with the Sandro Tonali at Milan. Dancing, singing, boom, breaks his wrist. Very funny. The kid looks exactly like Sandro Tonali. That's our first one that comes up here. Go on to who else? The next one up here. We got let's see. Giovanni says, okay, this one's coming from Nando. So Get Italian Football News puts out the lineup for Atalanta. He says Atalanta going all out against a team that sounds like a Wi-Fi password with Michelin. Yeah, that's a hard one to say. No doubt about that. Next one coming in from Borussia Mönchengladbach. They're getting involved in this now. Red Sky over the San Siro this morning. Probably not the color our hosts were hoping for in their matchup against Inter. Throwing a little shade towards Inter Milan. Gotta love that. Coming in at the next one coming in is from Conte Biz at the DD Away. He says, I hope Borussia Mönchengladbach and Milan were Conte's Liverpool and Arsenal. Doubt it. Nicely done there. Coming in from our friend Chris, he says, Cristiano Ronaldo puts out a picture of his Thursday style shaved head. And Chris says, good thinking to get that prison buzz cut done early. Yes, with the rape allegations still looming, Cristiano Ronaldo with that nice haircut there. Frank's trying to join the call, but it's not working at the moment. Let's see. Well, as he tries to work through those difficulties there, we'll continue on here with the Who Won Calcio Twitter. Let's see. From the reigning champion, Saturninion, he says, can't wait for Tonali to finally debut for Milan. And then the tweet is, oh. All right, I get that. I get it. All right, next one here. Football tweets. They tweet out the Adidas Pharrell jerseys that came out, especially the Juventus one. And Mr. Stevie says, Gianfranco or Angelina, his kids, could have drawn and colored the Juve one a lot better than that. That's how. Here's a jersey for Juventus. Very, very odd. I don't know any Juventini that like that jersey, honestly, but we'll see. Maybe they could tell us wrong, but that's a funny one by Stevie. Let's see. Frank still can't get on. Oh, poor Frank. Get Frank his CVP on. Next one is from our buddy George. George says, Mr. Calorie Man, he says, okay, we won a game yesterday. If we win today, it's called 2 in a row. And if we win again tomorrow, it's called a winning streak. And with his video from Major League. Very well done, George. Great movie, by the way. Great movie. All right, next one up by Tony Melassi. He says, Juve's only decent game this season was against Napoli. Barumch. All right, next one up is by Nino. Nino had a good one last week. Let's see what he gets this week. This week he says, Piero Giacomelli had a shocker tonight with all those phantom penalty kicks and calls. It looked like a classic Juventus versus Juventus game. Ha. Very good. Very funny. Which one you guys like him? Frank can't get on. Sorry, Frank. Tweet in the chat which ones you like so far. Next one. This is the one for me. Nino tweeted this out. Excuse me. It's a referee giving a candy bar, a lollipop to Roma, and then okay, I'll give one to Milan as well. With those poor penalty decisions in those games, and then that is the last one. Which ones are the ones for you? Let us know in the chat, I should say, which ones are your favorite ones there. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna where Frank says. I can't get Frank's word right here because he can't seem to find him right now. He's out in La La Land. I don't know where he is. He's in the chat group, mixing it up with Steve. But for me, if I were to pick, and since I'm the only one on here, I guess I can. I'm gonna go with the one by Nino. ASR Curva Sud 1927 with the picture of Giacomelli giving Roma the phantom lollipop and then giving Milan 1-2, making everyone happy. Very nice. Very nice. The Juve versus Juve is amazing as well. I like that as well. Adriano likes Tony Melassi as well. That's a good one too. The one with the ref graphics is great. Yep. Maybe it's co-winners. Maybe say co-winners in this one as Frank tries to jump on here. Frankie, maybe I just send you another link, Frank. How about that, huh? Everybody gets a link. Everybody gets a link in this one. Let's see if we can get him on here for the ending. Here we go. Let's see, as I type his name in here, see what I can get him in here or not. All right. Boom. All right, Frankie boy, I'm sending you the link right now. And Steve, if you're paying attention, maybe you can jump on here as well. lot of funny ones. I'm gonna go with both of them. Definitely the Juve versus Juve with the call, and then also with the picture. So those are my co-winners in this one. As we stall here to get Frankie on here at the end, yeah, go ahead and let's see. Let's get the boards for this week's Who Won Calcio up here coming up, because you guys have done some really fantastic ones. We got some. I'm sure tons are going to come out tomorrow in a Juventus and Juventus Barcelona matchup, no doubt about that. Frank, you still can't get in here, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. Frank, check your email. Steve, check your emails. See if you can get on here real quick as I stall this bad boy. Oh man, gotta love this. Gotta love Calcio. Looking ahead. Hey, look at this. Look at this guy. Hey-oh.
No shirt. Yeah.
Stevie's on the call, no t-shirt. What's up, buddy?
Hey, nothing much. See, I have to help out Frank. I have to help you guys out when you're in trouble. I'm here. I'm on the chat, but I'm here.
This is awesome. Awesome. Well, Stevie, we looking real quick the next weekend. Some of the big matchups next weekend. We got Lazio, Torino, Napoli, Sassuolo. For me, is going to be a big game. Two teams there who can score a lot of goals.
You didn't want to talk to me for a while, so I'm going to sit down for this one.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to stall to get Frank on here. So what do you think about that matchup, Napoli, Sassuolo, next weekend?
I think it's going to be good. It's going to be entertaining. We see Napoli giving up a lot of goals too, and Sassuolo giving up a lot of goals, and they can both score, right? So,
God damn it.
Hey, Frankie's on the call finally.
You gotta be fucking kidding me of all nights.
Look, we got Stevie.
I've been replaced by a topless Stevie Polillo. Is this what we've come to?
This is what we've come to.
Hey, you needed a reliever. I'm here.
You leave me and I have to bring in the moneymaker.
I didn't leave you. I got zapped out. I'm trying to get into a new screen to show to preview the Champions League, and all of a sudden the damn thing froze.
You got to pay your bills, Frank, okay?
I got to pay my bills.
I got to bring in the closer like Stevie here. And
I don't even pay the bills. My wife pays the bills.
Hey, me too.
I got married June 14th, 2008. June 15th, I gave her the checkbook. I said, here, I'll just make sure there's money in it.
Topless podcast. You gotta love this. We were just talking about Sassuolo and Napoli and how Mr. Topless Steve thinks that it's going to be a high-scoring game, a good game. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I mean, it's first of all, you got Sassuolo playing.
Focus, Frank.
Well, I'm trying to collect myself here. This has been a miserable experience for me. Napoli. It's at the San Paolo. It's going to be like I'm going to go 4-2 to Napoli.
Oh my!
I think that this is going to be one of those that Sassuolo won't be able to dig themselves out of. They're going to get in trouble early, and I think that Napoli are going to take full advantage. So, Steve, what you got?
I think we're going to see a 2-2 draw.
I like that. I think it's going to be a tough game. I do like Napoli. I've been liking Napoli a lot lately. But Sassuolo are going to get their goals. I think I'm going to split the difference between the two of you and say 3-2 Napoli. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, no doubt about it. But we'll see. While we're both distracted, I think by Mr. Stevie, we're happy he's here, but he's very distracted.
And I missed the Who Won Calcio Twitter. I told you just take questions from the chat, and you did everything without me. And I got to go look and see. I got to go look and pick a winner.
So, you pick a winner because I picked. There's two. So Steve, who's on the call now, he says he liked the Juve versus Juve one, which is a hilarious one, and then I like the one with the picture of the referee giving a lollipop to Roma and then giving one to Milan with the poor penalties.
Both of those are good.
They're both good. Adriano says Chicho Caputo is going to score.
Chicho Caputo, yeah, okay.
Guaranteed.
And water's also wet, so I'm a little agitated. Let's see here. I can't even get this. I can't even get the damn search up.
Nothing works for you.
Come on.
Hey, you know what, Frank? You know what? Tomorrow, give Vinny a call because he seems to have those internet problems too.
This reminds
Steve and I
me, we
just made
have
our own
actually a
podcast.
special edition. As long as we got Stevie here on Sitdown, we got a special edition of memorable moments of Paolo Maldini at left back, just for Vinny T.
No, right back.
Right back. See, I can't even get
You
that
can't
right.
even get it right.
My brain is shot now. This whole thing.
Oh, I carry you so much on the show, Frank.
Yeah, you do. What would I do without you? You got you put up the graphics and all the.
And I was on the call crying the whole time, just because I didn't have you. And oh my goodness.
Sure. Let me here. I'm gonna just pull it up on my phone. Damn it.
There you go.
To talk about other previews, and I'll tell you what I got for who on Calcio Twitter.
Oh, what you get with the Milan game, Stevie? It's a game that they against Udinese. It's going to be a difficult one. We talked about how Milan have struggled, bringing in defending the crosses. Okaka's a big guy that they can't. You obviously had trouble with Lukaku. Not that we're comparing them, but he's a big guy. Romagnoli has not played well as of late. I mean, how do you see this going? Is this going to be a tough draw for Milan, or do you see them, getting it straight and figuring it out?
Yeah, we had a tough. We talked about it yesterday too on Milan Weekly podcast. Just saying, you know what? After the draw against Rome, we saw like someone like Kier being really pissed off at tying that match, right? And I thought it was like something really cool, especially someone who's not been with us so long, take it so bad that we dropped these 2 points. So for me, guys, it's really how they bounce back on Thursday. Yes, there's going to be a bit of rotation, but the game on Sunday morning, 6:30 for us here in
East Coast,
on the East Coast. But I think they need to bounce back. I think they need to have one of those performances where we put the Roma game behind us. I get the crossing ability of Udine, and they have Lasagna and Okaka in that box trying to get on headers. But if Milan wants to take it to the next level, that's when we show the grinta. That's when we show
absolutely.
It's not a flash in the pan, these results that we've been getting for the past couple of months. Yeah. And we take the 3 points at Udine and we move forward. A testa alta.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We got to take advantage also that, Napoli could drop points to Sassuolo, so those two teams could cancel each other out. They could extend their lead at the top, which is so important at this stage of the season, especially with Juventus struggling, Inter not quite having their shit together yet. So this is a great game, like you said, to make up for that Roma game, get rid of it, and prove that those games weren't flash in the pans. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Frank, how we doing there, buddy?
I'm going with Tony Malasse's tweet. At Tony Malasse 7, Juve's only decent game this season was against Napoli. That's my pick.
That was a funny one. Beautiful.
That's my pick. So I think did we all have different winners then? The three of us?
We all did. We got three winners.
Okay, I can go with that. So
let's wrap this bad boy up then, huh?
I guess we'll put a bow on this edition of Serie Sitdown. The impromptu guest, Stevie, shameless plug. Put yourself over.
I'm an avid listener of Serie Sitdown. You guys, I'm always hanging around in the chat and trying to
egg on our calls.
Yeah. So it's a pleasure to step in and help Frank when he had some technical difficulties. And for everybody listening out there, it's things that happen. We're not professionals. We're not with $1 million equipment here. So I'm sorry that I was really shirtless. I was on the couch there, and I didn't think Richard was going to send me the link. He called, and then when I saw the link, I jumped on, and my wife said, "You're fucking crazy because hey, you have no shirt on." So she's the one who brought me the jacket and said, "Please put this on." You're embarrassing her. But love the show, guys. I listen all the time. I follow Calcio. I love Milan, right? You see in the little handle on the StreamYard. Milan Weekly Podcast. We talk Milan. We talk Calcio. We love it. We swear. We drink. We smoke. We do everything on the show, and we don't care. We're not professionals, and we don't pretend to be. And again, it's a pleasure to help you guys. Whenever I can, I will promise that if I need to help you guys again, I will be wearing some sort of clothing.
Well,
We
thank
might
you
get more
for
female
the
callers now. Who knows?
yeah, thank you for coming on in relief, Stevie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Frank. Man, you froze even angry. You froze angry. Like, we had to screenshot that.
I know we do. That's gonna be the thumbnail there, right there.
Love it. Love it.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Richard, anything you got to plug?
I'm gonna plug Stevie's podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for jumping on again. And as always, you can follow me at r_KHARMA on social media.
You can find me. I got to get used to this damn thing right there at FTC_21.
Oh, okay.
I am not. You said it. You said it several months ago, Stevie. I am not a man of the computers. So
Phone calls only, Frank.
it's in script. So. Serie, sit down. We have our own channel on Apple Podcasts and on SoundCloud. You can also find us on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever there's podcasts. You can find Serie, sit down. The YouTube channel, as always, please drop a like on this video. Also, subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications for whenever we drop a new video or whether we are recording live. Or maybe there's even is there notifications for when there's interruptions like what happened tonight?
Sure, why not?
There should be, and it should just say let's all.
Steve to jump
It
on.
should just say let's all point at Frank and laugh. So, at Serie Sit Down on Twitter or Instagram. You can also find us on Facebook. Any comments, questions, ideas, topics that you want us to cover on future podcasts, we're all ears. I'm at FTC_21, as I mentioned. And Stevie, again, thank you for coming on in relief. Chat. You brought it again. Thank you very much for your listenership, and thank you for hanging in there with us. This is one that I will not live down for a long, long time. So.
You will not.
Hey, you guys, you know what? I think I created a way for you guys to get everybody to get to the end of your podcast. 100% guaranteed. They're going to get to see me topless.
There you go. Topless Tuesdays. That's a new thing.
That's a good way. I'm out. All right. So with that, thank you all for the listen. And as always, make sure you tell your paisans about us. Ciao.
Make it big.